Hello and welcome everybody to the first playoff game of the Dota League season number 3. It's the European Division 1 Coast Gaming versus xGame KZ in a quarterfinal. Usually quarterfinals there are at least 4 of them, but in this case there's only one quarterfinal, one semifinal and one final. 4 teams that made it to the playoffs, one waiting in the semifinals already, one in the grand final. So we are here, of course, we're HeflaTV. I won't be solo for the majority of it. I think Blackadder will be joining me in a couple of minutes time because, well, this game started actually ahead of time. Yes, guys, ahead of time. I know it rarely happens, but here we are. And well, Black, he will be joining me in a couple of minutes, calling me on Skype when he's ready. But looking at the draft, Brewmaster as well as the Faceless Void banned by xGame, I can't say it's all too surprising. I mean, both are strong heroes. Death Prophet plus, what will the second one be? Lycan, Doombringer? Viper, Razor possibly. Some people even ban out Scarf Mage. So we'll see what they want to take out. I mean, leaving Lycan in the pool is definitely going to be scary, but it's a Tinker. So xGame, yeah, they pick up the Lycan. I mean, one thing is not to pick up a Lycan as the first pick for xGame, but the other would have meant that you'll leave it to the tire side, which is even scarier. But Team Coast, I mean, it must have been in their calculations somewhat, or at least they had to be aware of the possibility of a Lycan getting picked up there. But, I mean, Tinker ban, definitely a good one as well. I mean, Tinker's just such a cancerous hero to play up against. And, Razor. Doombringer, what's the secondary one? But Batrider is picked up and... Hello, Blackadder.
Evening. We've got one hell of an interesting draft that I come back to. I mean, Lycan and Doom and Razor? What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, Team Coast, they opted to ban out the Tinker instead of the Lycan, so xGame, they couldn't really pass up on it. They had the first pick. I mean, some teams don't like the Lycan as much, but that would have meant that Coast could have had it on the dire side, so they were somewhat forced into it, but I guess they're pretty happy about the Lycan themselves, to be honest.
Well, they get themselves a Lycan and a Bat. They bring control, damage, and pushing power. I'd be pretty damn happy with that draft. I mean, the only hesitance I've got is you're up against a Doom. And, well, Coast are no pushovers. They know what they're doing with that Doom. But from where I sit, just looking over at the drafts briefly, in the Phase 2 draft, ban on Jakiro, VS, Slark, and Shadow Shaman. Okay, we'll get a Shadow Demon. Amplification's going to be nice, brings a good amount of control, has that Purge. Flip side of the coin for xGame, what can they consider here? The Shadow Demon would have been perfect for them as well, giving them good control in a team fight. And I'm surprised they didn't actually ban the Shadow Demon, considering Shadow Demon being one of the better counters to the Batrider.
Yeah, it's definitely really good up against the Batrider. I mean, I guess it doesn't do all that much to Lycan, so that's a good part for xGame, but they pick up a Mirana, a hero that Coast, I think, would have been going for, highly likely at least, would have been the pickup of the Mirana there. Just Arrow, Shadow Demon, Disruption combination, it's so just tested out and works almost every time. But I mean, I was kind of expecting xGame to potentially go for something like a Nature's Prophet. It is definitely a hero that is a little bit more popular now and is used for more early aggression than it used to be, but Team Coast now, what do they partner up the Shadow Demon with?
Well, you consider you've already got the mid-razor, the potential safe lane Doom. Shadow Demon, Dazzle comes to mind as well for this draft. I mean, we've seen the power of the physical damage amplification of that combination of heroes. It's one of the better ones. The other one we could see is a Kunkka.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind the Kunkka at all. I think we've seen a couple of support Kunkkas just purely roaming around with Shadow Demon. I think I've even seen some Kunkkas without Shadow Demons, but it's definitely a hero that is always fun to watch. I mean, just either watching an excellent ghost ship or just a fail boat. One of the two, I mean. At least some viewing experience either way.
I will completely agree with that. And this being Coast, considering they've got a Doom who could really use the armor, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Dazzle at all here. I mean, it fits their lineup, and the Team Coast lineup has changed slightly. They did have Frigoli and Steph Style leave. Steph Style now, I believe, is playing for 4FC, but I don't actually know Hanskin and, well, I know Seal Kid by reputation only, but we got Leshrak, which is something I didn't expect, but does work very well with the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, it's a really strong hero. To match the Lightning Storm itself, if you have the mana pool to sustain it, and it's maxed out, I mean, it's only on a 4.5 second cooldown, I think. So, you can spam it so damn often, and it has just so many targets it can hit. I mean, the cast animation, yes, at times might allow the enemy to slip into the fog of war, but usually it's a pretty nice harassment tool, especially up against pushes, to be honest. Lightning Storm is pretty nice to just clear off the creep waves.
Indeed, it is, and it is a 4-second cooldown on the Lightning Storm. It's an absurdly powerful skill. I mean, it's underrated. It's an underrated hero across the board. You bring good pushing power. You have one hell of a stun if you've got some form of setup. The Lightning Storm does a bizarrely high amount of damage. I believe it strikes 7 times at max rank, doing 260 damage to each target hit. That's well over 1,000, even counting magic resistance.
Yeah, it's pretty damn sick if there are enough heroes in the vicinity of it. And usually if you're pushing, you are rather grouped up and... Well, the spell doesn't even require to be just completely next to each other. It has a pretty decent enough range for the bounces, but xGame now, they're at their 4th pick. They have the Mirana. So far, no proper setup until I guess Patra gets level 6 and lasso somebody for it, but usually you would want some roaming potential. Maybe it's going to be a core Mirana, so not going to roam all that much, but even on the lane, you would want at least something. I guess Earthshaker is a possibility, Wraith King. I mean, anybody with just a solid setup stun.
I was going to say I would expect possibly the Earthshaker, considering Shadow Demon creates illusions, Doom, Leshrac, they're all going to be pushing into towers. Echo Slam, job done. That fits the bill at least. Other options they could go for? I mean, if this is a support Mirana, they could pair it up with how could they actually run this? They could pair it up with a VS, that would work. Would also give them, well, the VS is actually banned in this one, isn't it? So Team Coast won't allow that combination. Okay, if it's a support Mirana, it works very well with the Rubik, and there is still the option for the Tidehunter here for an off lane. That'll put the Batrider mid in a safe lane like it. But I think you are right when you said the core Mirana. You get the core Mirana, Rubik, and then we're just looking for an Ancient Apparition.
Yeah, AA definitely wouldn't be bad. I mean, it's pretty good up against Doombringer just to negate that Scorched Earth health per second regeneration. And I mean, all in all, Ice Blast is a bitch to deal with.
Indeed, Ice Blast is an absolute bitch to deal with, but the reason you'd pick it up is just for the potential 3-range tri-lane of a Mirana, Rubik, and AA. That tri-lane will destroy anything in its path.
Well, of course, Team Coast having a Shadow Demon Leshrac +1 to come out, it's not like their own tri-lane would be extremely weak. Especially having the Shadow Demon potentially defensive disrupting anybody who's about to get arrowed, for example. So, we'll see of course how Team Coast want to go about it themselves. And how they want to lane this. I mean, Leshrac Shadow Demon +1 definitely could be an aggressive tri-lane themselves. It would be rather funny to see actually both teams going for aggressive tri-lanes. It's not something you see all that often.
No, it isn't, but it would certainly be an entertaining game. It's a highly aggressive pace, and it's something that we would all enjoy. But now with the potential of an AA for Coast, I mean, it could make sense when you go core Lesh, go Bulk and Bears style. We've all seen Bulk and Bears just wreck face with a Leshrac in that core role, and honestly, that could work here. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. I mean, a few other options we could see, of course, for Team Coast. The Tidehunter is still available. They did just get the Centaur banned against them, and that's mainly because of Solon. Solon is a phenomenal Centaur player. So we could be looking for that offlane role for him, and in that case, I would honestly look towards maybe that Tide. Maybe an Elder Titan on a fringe pick.
Yeah, I think Tide wouldn't be all that bad. And they go for a Clockwork instead, so... Safe lane Doombringer, by the looks of it, potentially. With Clockwork, just offlane. Leshrac Shadow Demon roaming around, Razor mid.
I didn't consider the Clockwork because it's not something I've generally seen Solon play, but when you consider the draft of Team Coast, Cogs into Split Earth, or say Shadow Demon into Split Earth into Cogs, that's a good 8-10 seconds of positional disruption, depending on how they combo that. And that's before you consider the damage and healing a Razor and a Doom can bring into play. It's quite a good amount of coordination and combination out of Team Coast, and I like this draft. I heavily like this draft. I favour it over the Lycan at the moment.
Yeah, the only thing is that both the Mirana and Better have escapes out of the Cogs, but Lycan, of course, if you can actually catch him, there's nowhere to run for him all of a sudden. Razor can use the static link to its full extent, but xGame, they go for a Puck as the last one. So, most likely, Puck mid lane, Batrider off lane, Lycan, Mirana, Rubik just safe lane, tri lane.
Could be, but I was thinking we'd have a mid Batrider. It's like actually in this case going to be an off lane bat, and that'll put Whatafaka on the mid with the Puck. I suppose a puck does make a lot of sense when you think about it. I mean, the Shrek, Shadow Demon, very low in potential for health early game, which a puck can dish out with the Illusionary Orb, with the Waning Rift. It's going to be very nasty. Very nasty, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I just love Puck as a hero overall. Just so elusive and usually goes really aggressive, especially once he picks up the Blink Dagger. So if you can get it with a decent timing, Team Coast have to be a little bit wary of him. Of course, a lot of it depends on what itemization they're going to go for. Whether Doom is going to go for that utility build, just build a mech for their team, or Razor probably the most likely candidate for it, but we'll see how Doom wants to build it, man. Usually safe lane Dooms want to go a little bit greedier, get that fast hand of Midas and just get sick amounts of farm, get the Shivas to follow up, for example, something like that.
Can you really go for that kind of build, though, when you're going to be on the clock because of that Lycan? I mean, you're going to have to endure through the early game push and potentially mid-game pushing power of that Lycan, and then potentially come around in the late game if you want to go for that greedier style. Whereas we've got the potential for the Leshrac to start roaming, getting some kills. We have the Shadow Demon, the Clockwork, who's going to be very aggressive. Razor comes online earlier than that kind of play out of a Doom. I should think we're going to be looking maybe for a drum build coming out of the Doom instead of the Midas, personally. I mean, Midas, sure, great item, but does it give you enough early enough in this game?
It really, I guess, maybe, just maybe if they can set up a kill on the safe lane, get the first plot to the Doombringer, then it might be worth it if you get like 4.5 minutes in. Because that actually won't delay your drums after that all that much, but it really depends. I mean, I guess Hand of Midas up against Batrider might be a little bit greedy in a sense that the supports can't really roam away after that, since you still want boots, and if you go for boots first, then the Hand of Midas will be delayed and so on and so forth. So I guess depending on his matchup and how well of a, or how good of a start he gets. But as we are on post, to go over the lineups now as well for you guys. For xGame on the Radiant side, Stalkat, we will be playing the Batrider, leaving Watafaka on the puck, with Equal to play the Mirana, Reeves on the Rubik, and Mantis will be on that Lycan.
And on the flip side of that coin, for Team Coast Gaming, we've got 8 Mother on the Doom. We have Shadow Demon played by Seal Kid, Hanskin played by, well, Hanskin on the Leshrac even, and I'm going to pronounce that name wrong. I am so sorry, any Swedish viewers. That I'm probably butchering that. Over on the mid lane, we have Solon, actually, and I expected Solon to be in the off-lane role, but he's going to be handling the mid lane as a Clockwork up against the Puck, which actually does fairly well in favour of the Clockwork, considering he can drain the mana and just be an absolute pain. And finally, we have E-Skills up on that safe lane farming role on the Razor.
Yeah, I mean, I think Puck should be fine if he just doesn't go too aggressive. I mean, just Puck's attack damage early on, plus attack animation is pretty good, especially having an alt talisman. Then Clockwork, man, at least he's gonna get a rather fast bottle, I think. He doesn't have his Stout Shield though, which will make his early game a little bit harder.
Well, his early game, sure, that could be harder, but I don't think it's going to be all that big in impact. I mean, you've got to consider the lineups here. There's potential for aggression across the board, and I don't think it's going to be that much of a detriment.
Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea of mid Clockwork at all. I mean, he doesn't outright lose a lot of matchups, to be honest, so he should be fine. And of course, Clockwork, most important, just get the hookshot ready, start ganking, start setting up kills on the map. That's probably what they're aiming at the moment. And of course, have some form of guaranteed farm on Clockwork so he can actually tank up when he goes for the hookshots.
Well, this is the way I consider the Clockwork right now. He's got that first point in cogs. He's going to be getting in the face of Watafaka when he can. Just drop the cogs and force him back, draining some mana, dealing some health damage. If he can maintain, and there you see the first time it's used, if he can maintain that level of aggression, he will win these outright trades. But Solon does need to be careful, because while he drops cogs like that, he is an easy target potentially for that Mirana to land an arrow on.
Yeah, and Mirana, with the team vision, might be waiting for the next cogs to come out. Actually, nope, just going for a fishing arrow. He's gonna miss with it as Anscan and Seal Kid. I do believe they already used the smoke. Didn't get too much use of it, but now just using his sentry to make sure that the stacking doesn't happen on the pull camp. But Reeves might get that one pull through anyway with a double pull.
If he can get the double pulls going, at least that will help him out. But as far as I'm concerned, this tri-lane needs to get kills coming out of Coast. If they can't get kills, they're going to lose a lot of their potential. I mean, Leshrac and Shadow Demon is a very aggressive killing combination. And if they're not killing, they're not doing their jobs in my mind.
Yeah, and actually they are double pulling with all three of them being present just in case Coast actually go for the aggression, which they might reach. He's the one getting disrupted. Oh, the splitter! No, it doesn't follow the arrow into Leshrac. There's the telekinesis to follow up as well. Wolves have been summoned. Reef though. Split Earth connects and First Blood goes to Ape Mother as Hanscan. He's gonna fall as well. Yes, Mantis gets that counter, but Equal has to leap away. Was level 2 already. Can they get Seal Kid? Maybe. They need some form of slow on him though.
I don't think they're going to get some form of slow, but an arrow's going to fly through. That might actually impact Seal Kid, and that will. Long range, did not see that one coming, and Telekinesis could spell his doom, plus the Wolves, but in comes the Shrek once again. Split Earth drops, tries to get a good stun off, but it doesn't stop the Shadow Demon from falling. But he's back alive immediately, going to TP in. This aggression could continue, but Ape Mother's going to have to back off here. He's just too low.
Yeah, I mean, First Blood still went for Coast, so that's good for them. Doombringer getting actually a lot of gold out of it. I think he was the one picking it up. Yeah. Yes, he was, so... Good for him. Of course, really nice counter kills from xGame as well. Really nice arrow from Mirana, to be honest, to just stop that first splitter from even coming out. But, oh, they want to go on Lycan. He should be safe as Batrider top lane. Wow, he killed these kills. Wow, okay. That's a nice solo kill.
It's a very nice solo kill, but mid lane, Solon actually gets caught out by What a Fucker and an arrow coming in from Equal, and that's going to spell his doom. And if they can keep getting kills across the map like this, keeping the other two cores of Coast down, this is going to rapidly go in way of xGame, and off the back of this early flurry of aggression, it's going to be a very tempting thing to place your money on xGame, but where are you putting yours, Coach?
Well, at the moment, I still don't think Coast are doing that bad at all, especially considering Mantis. He does only have 5 last hits on the safe lane, so as long as the support still keep just applying pressure, I think they're going to do just fine, just keeping the Lycan down, delaying that Vladimir's offering. And without the Vlads, he can't really even go into the jungle all too reliably. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're even smoked up for it.
Well, with a smoke, we could be just looking for a straight-out kill, but it will be revealed by Mantis. Now we get the turnaround. The disruption into Split Earth combo doesn't land. He hits the Split Earth too early, and this is going to cost Hanscan his life. He just gets Telekinesis arrowed, and he's brought down too quickly. Now Mantis going to start trading blows into 8 Mother. I'm not sure why 8 Mother came in there. He's going to be very low in terms of armor. Seal Kid takes a lot of damage. Will get the Lycan in exchange, but you still lose the Shadow Demon, and Mantis gets the double kill with his Wolves, and 8 Mother going to be forced out of the lane. He just cannot get anything off the back of that one.
Yeah, and actually, the Dire Courier just came, a walking one. Delivered something, I think it was to Ape Mother. But Equal, he got one right click into the Courier, but just as the second one was flying, the Courier was upgraded there, so... Man, if they had lost the Courier there, the Dire side, it would have hurt them so much economically. Yes, Talcat might be in trouble, Plasma Field doesn't kill him quite outright, but Seal Kids with a level 2 Shadow Poison will be enough to get the kill, so man, just aggression all around.
Yeah, indeed. Aggression across all the lanes, and this is exactly what we wanted to see. We're at that magical bit where we're past 2 kills a minute. If this level of aggression keeps up throughout the game, we are in for an absolute cracker. But now you've got to consider, what are we going to see come up across this board? I mean, we're expecting some kind of early push, we're expecting Vlads, and we're expecting Roshana and Mantis for xGame. But what are we going to see equally from Coast? We're going to hopefully be seeing a lot of aggressive hook shots coming through from Solon. We're going to be seeing Dooms potentially onto the Lycan before he can get his Metamorphosis up, or onto the Puck. And we're just looking for the ability to brawl and outfight xGame, because that's what we see out of Coast. They've drafted the ability to brawl and fight. If they don't win those brawls and fights, they are going to suffer for it. I mean, they cannot equal the pushing power, really, of the Lycan until maybe 25-minute mark. Sure, you've got Diabolic Edict, which does a lot to towers, but the Razor won't have his Aghanims. That's if he even goes for an Aghanims in this game, for a good 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's going to play a really huge part. Actually, Telekinesis onto Hanscan, the arrow follow-up, it misses just by a little bit. Ape Mother wants to come in to zone everybody off, but... Man, Ape Mother is so low on mana, all he can do is just use Devour. Doesn't even have enough for Scorched Earth at the moment. Well, now he does, but you have to be a little bit careful, and Hanscan, of course, dodging a bullet there. But still might be in some trouble. The Howl is used as well. They're gonna go for it. Diabolic Edict, a few more right clicks, that's all they really need for Leshrac. They're gonna get healed with the Fate Bolt. Ape Mother is in some trouble as well. Equal doesn't have enough mana. Telekinesis was used anyway. The right clicks, they are going for it, but Seal Kid tries to turn it around. Scorched Earth, Ape Mother, well, they're all gonna be just fine, I think. Shadow Poison might tick down Reeves, one more right click.
No, the Shadow Poison won't get him in time. This is one thing that you have to consider. Howl and the Wolves alone is enough to kill the Leshrac. Leshrac only has 3 armor. He has less than 600 health. He really suffers when these Wolves start critting him, and especially if Howl goes up. Now we get the Dream Coil, and this is going to be very bad. Hanscan tries to turn around and get the Split Earth, but doesn't manage to get anything. Equally up on that top lane, Batrider does go down to Eastgill's Razor.
Yeah, so once again, just kills happening simultaneously. Of course, this trade favored Coast since they, of course, just got the core Battle Rider down, dealing the Blink Dagger, which is probably one of the most important items to come out from xGame. Both the Blink Dagger on Watafaka as well as Talcat. But they are going into the mid lane now. Reeves and Equal, a little bit short on mana though for the arrow even. So Solan might be fine, but he's rather low on mana himself.
He's low on mana himself, yes. He does have a wand, which is going to give him at least one charge at the moment, but you got to consider, he's just getting aggressive, he's getting his farm going, and that's the most important thing. He almost has arcanes if he wants them, or he could go for treads. And if we have some kind of upgraded boots coming out within the next minute or so for Solan, he's completely fine. Especially if he goes arcanes. He'll just start hook-shotting into lanes and just landing kills. He's gone for max battery assault, and honestly, a Clockwork doesn't really need much to kill any of these heroes on the lineup of xGame. The only one he's going to struggle with is the Bat Rider. And Lycan potentially if he catches the wolves within the cogs as well. The only reason the bat's a problem is because he can escape the cogs so easily. Mirana can with a leap as well, but she's still going to have a lot of damage pumped into her off the back of this Clockwork.
Oh, Mantis, he got doomed on the bottom lane. Scorcher activated as well. Shadow Poison trying to scout things out. Mantis, he's just buying time at the moment, but are the rotations going to be there in time? Stalkat, he arrives as well. Splitter misses Mantis. Well, he's definitely going to go down, but can they get some counter kills now? Nice defensive disruption or aggressive rather onto Stalkat, delaying things out. Handscan. They are turning it around. There's the hookshot as well to the backlines. Telekinesis up immediately, thrown out of the power cord, but he's just going to take so much damage from the plasma field. Gonna go down. Arrow into Solar. There's a 2-man Dream Coil as well. They need a little bit more though. The silence from Watafaka. They get that one counter kill. A 2-for-2, but Watafaka. Magic Stick. He needs the Illusion Orb. 4 seconds on cooldown. Can you escape plasma field? No, he's gonna go down. But Bat Rider does finish his Blink Dagger at the very least. Still a 3-for-2 exchange for Coast.
Indeed, that's actually a really good exchange for Coast as well. You've got to consider they accomplished so much with that. They got a kill on the Lycan, they got a kill on the Puck. That was absolutely perfect. And now they're just going to siege this bottom lane tier 1, and this is exactly what they need to do. More towers, more fights. And we also have to consider, there was something I did forget when it came to that Clockwork. The telekinesis from the Rubik can cause all manner of havoc with those cogs, yes. But the Rubik takes so much damage, he's nearly dead either way before the telekinesis can throw Solan away.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the telekinesis will be a nice thing. I think Rubik himself can't get caught anyway. He has to be the one to actually defensively telekinesis up the Clockwork and throw him out and save somebody else from it. But we'll see how well he can position himself for that. It's definitely going to get a lot easier once he gets the Blink Dagger, but I don't see that really happening in the foreseeable future quite yet, since he doesn't even have his Arcane Boots. Which you definitely want at least one pair of on your team, like minimum one pair really. But we'll see. At least Mantis has his Vladimir's Offering finished. Doesn't have too many last hits, but that's at least going for him. Watafaka also only 130 gold away from his Blink Dagger. So they will get the 2 core items to actually go on the aggressive, whereas Coast.
Reeves is in a lot of trouble up here. He's about to get hookshot in by Solan if he lands this one, and that's going to easily kill the Rubik. I mean, we can see the level of damage. He's not even going to use the hookshot. He's just going to walk in. He doesn't really need to escape. I mean, the telekinesis will buy some time, but even if Reeves starts TPing, he'll be able to just hookshot. It's an easy cleanup there for Handskin. That's the power of that Lightning Storm. He's only got level 1 in it. We're actually seeing more points in Diabolic Edict, which surprises me. I can only imagine a couple of casters I know cringing at that, but the higher points in Diabolic Edict does let you equal the pushing power, but higher points in the Lightning Storm is really the brawling style that I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, Diabolic Edict is definitely strong. I guess trying to figure out up against, does it hits Invis units as well, right?
Lightning Storm.
Oh no, the Diabolic Edict.
Oh, Edict, yes, I believe. Yes, it does. Lightning Storm does not.
So I guess that might be like one of the reasonings up against Moonlight Shadow or something, maybe trying to secure a kill that way. I'm not too sure. Of course, having some pushing power is never going to be bad, but are they going to go for the pushes? They have already destroyed one tower, so that's all well and good. But
I think they are. Look, top lane, Solan gets jumped in by the lasso, but in comes the turnaround. Doom thrown immediately onto Stalkat. He's going to be forced back, but in comes the potential chase. 8 Mother's going to zone this one out completely, and in the backlines you still have Seal Kid just dropping those shadow poisons. We did get the Moonlight Shadow pop, but I don't think we're going to see any kind of re-engage off that. It was just a forced Doom to disengage his friendly neighborhood, Solan.
Yeah, that arrow setup was a little bit unfortunate. Stalkat actually didn't drag the Clockwork past the entire creep wave, so arrow just ended up hitting a melee creep. So nothing really happened. Tower still stands as well. Did take some damage, but Doom up or Doom exchanged for a lasso as well as a Moonlight Shadow. I think it's a worthwhile trade. But mid lane, the jump, the silence onto E skills, no Dream Coil used though. So just some harassment coming out with the newly acquired Blink Dagger.
Well, if they can harass with the Blink Dagger, that's going to be absolutely fine. I can understand not investing the Dreamfall there. It would only been on one target, and they may not even have been able to bring down the Razor. You've got to consider the Razor is getting fairly tanky. You've now got the Buckler, almost got the full mech, only off by, well, no gold now. That'll be flying out to him any second. And as we stand, this is starting to add up quite heavily, I believe, in Coast's favour. Then again, Leshrac gets caught by the Wolves. These Wolves are just tearing him to pieces, and they don't take that much damage either. That's going to have to be playing very carefully around those Wolves.
Yeah, the power of the Wolves. I mean, I guess Force Spirits might be a little bit more annoying, but I guess Force Spirits are slower at the same time. But yeah, it's so sick that if Lycan gets enough levels, just the Wolves will be pains in the ass. But oh, Stalkat might be in trouble once again. Soul and the Cogs push Stalkat back. He's going to get to the low ground, maybe, just maybe the disruption. The War Storm to follow up as well. There's the hookshot. Well, they're going to secure themselves the kill. They're going to grab it and maybe even be able to push down the tower now.
They might be able to start pushing this to top tier 1, but I don't think they will. They've got bigger problems to deal with, namely Equal and Wadafaka pushing this middle lane with just sheer power. And Howl's there as well. In comes the TPs to defend. Hanskin is here. The Splitter, thinking about it, doesn't quite get it, and Solon doesn't have a hook shot at this point either, so he can't go aggressive. Even with that DD rune, he just cannot get on top of a puck.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard, of course, for a Clockwork to try to lock down a puck as it is anyway. Just shapeshift or illusory orb not shapeshift. Phase shift.
You'll get there eventually.
Man. Wrong hero. Same team, wrong hero. But looking at the Lycan, he is going for that straight out Necrobook after that Vladimir now. Only a recipe away from that level 1. But Blade Mail also picked up on Solan, and that's going to be a pretty nice addition for himself. Just for the armor part, plus of course, when you shut down in a Lycan and you have the Blade Mail, Lycan can't do anything at all. He just has to sit in the power cogs.
Eastgirls actually needs to be very careful here. I mean, he's pinging out Reeves, but can they really make a go on this? With the Clockwork hookshotting in, maybe, but pings go out onto the Clockwork. They know he's coming. He walked right past a ward, and there is backup as well in the form of Hanskin, but Moonlight Shadow's popped, and now this could be very bad for Solan. Can he find anyone? He's getting body blocked up. He might realize something's amiss, but equally, you still have the rest of the coastline up here ready to go.
Yeah, Hanskin actually is going really aggressive. Sealkid though might get found out by Equal, or who's gonna find who? Disruption is there for Sealkid if he can just get in range. Not gonna use the Money Purge or anything just because Equal, he would just leap out of it. But looks like both sides will just back off to some extent.
I can understand that. Someone had top he'll start farming up, and he did go for that Blade Mail, which sort of surprises me. I was expecting maybe earlier components on either a Force Staff, because it's Clockwork, or an Aghanim, so he can just get the ability to get on top of that Puck very easily. I mean, Puck, we all know, one of the most escapable heroes in the game. Hook shot with an Aghanims can actually keep up to a Puck fairly well.
Yeah, I mean, Aghanims is just such a great upgrade, I think, on Clockwork. It's just so disruptive, especially up against BKBs, and even trying to chase down a Lycan potentially. But one thing got stolen by Rubik. It's the Devour. I mean, if you're not fighting anyway, it's actually a pretty good spell to steal when you're Rubik. I mean, any additional gold for a support is like just going into heaven. It's like, hell yeah, man, hell yeah.
Indeed it is, and you got to consider he's going to be getting plenty of Force Stuff, but we do hear a drain going on, and E-Skills does steal a good amount of damage coming out of Wadafaka, but he already had that orb up, and he just orbs out his second that disruption, and doesn't really want to risk it. But equally, now we've got Mantis going in. They do catch the arrow onto Hanskin, and he will just be shredded, and now comes the potential for a chase. Are they going to be able to turn and fight this one, though? Seal Kid trying to get some demonic poison going, but E-Skills gets grabbed by Alas, who dragged back. 8 Mother in the background, though, doing some good chopping, hacking, and slashing, but in comes Solan. Doom is here as well. This could actually be really good for Coast if they can get a few more kills. Then again, Doom picks up the dominating spree. Now he's chasing down Reeves. 2 right clicks will spell his Doom. Solan is here as well. Does have another Rocket Flare ready to go, but could just drop the cogs instead. Rocket Flare cleans up the Rubik, and now Equal going to trade into Solan here. But in comes the Batrider to seal the deal, and Stalkat will finish that one up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how E-Skills survived, but somehow he did. He got the mech off just after the last zone and just hightailed himself out of there with face boots, maxed out unstable current for the extra movement speed. So really nice escape there. And in the end, was it really a 2-for-2 only? I mean, Leshrac lost his life. Shadow Demon, I guess he died as well.
Yeah, the Shadow Demon, I believe, did go down in that engagement as well. But it's still a okay trade for Coast, considering the items they picked up off the back of that fight. They got themselves a blink on the Doom, most importantly, so they can start looking to try to go aggressive onto that Lycan before he can shapeshift. And that could be the game-changing thing in this one.
Yeah, and actually, Apefather, I do believe he got even a Freeman War Stomp off in the last fight on the Doombringer as well, which was pretty damn huge, to be honest. I mean, it's an ability that a Doombringer usually doesn't even have, or, I mean, he gets it from a creep. He doesn't have it built in. A Seal Kid mid lane, he's gonna go down to the last right click of what the fuck. A Dream Coil was spent for that as well, but a kill is a kill, but I mean, if you can get the War Stomp, a 2-second stun onto 3 enemy heroes with a Doombringer, especially without a Blink Dagger, you are doing something right, or the enemy is just doing something wrong in a team for just clumping up like that.
Well, it's one of the better things where you can just get those War Stomps used if you can get the Alpha Wolf. No matter what thing you steal with the Doom from the neutral creeps, you're going to be doing something right. But now we get the hookshot to try to stop this lasso. The cogs are down. That's going to keep Mantis out of this one, but Whatafucker will get brought down by that Doombringer, and now we're looking for more off the back of this one. Solon needs to get the hell out of dodge, and Mantis is here as well, but in comes the stolen plasma field of Reeves, and will clean up the Solon clockwork, but can Ape Mother escape this one? I don't think he can. Arrow's going to fly through, not going to connect, but Ape Mother, does he have a blink? Yes, he damn well does, and he's just going to TP out. He doesn't really want to risk getting caught, and he's safe.
Yeah, nicely done, nice blink out of there. So in the end, a 2-for-2 exchange once again, but 2 cores died for xGame, 1 core and 1 support for Coast. So Coast slightly coming out ahead. Of course, Doombringer getting more farm as well. Has himself a plate mail, so most likely a Shiva's card. Small potential for a not Vlad's, the AC as well, but most likely a Shiva's, I would think.
Yeah, I would be inclined to believe a Shiva's as well in this one. I mean, while I would very much love to see an AC in this game, potentially, I should think that will more be a late game kind of item for Ape Mother, should he actually decide he needs it. And they're going to go for that blink aggression. They find Mantis, gets caught by that Split Earth as well. There's no escaping that one. Ape Mother picks up the Unstoppable. And honestly, with the potential for a Shiva's Guard coming up soon, potentially after that a Refresher, this Doom is starting to get out of control.
Yeah, I mean, just... It was, of course, a safe lane Doom as well, right? Or, no? Yes?
It was a off-lane aggressive try.
Oh yeah, okay. So he was the aggressive try. Right, yo, Razor. He struggled up against Patriot on the safe lane. But considering he was on that aggressive try lane, I mean, he got a pretty nice amount of farm. Of course, stopping a Doom from farming is never an easy thing to do thanks to the Devour, but he's getting a lot done, especially since just he hasn't died. Of course, if he does die, he's going to give a pretty hefty amount of gold away to xGame, but until now, it just hasn't happened, and he's just getting tankier and tankier. Harder to bring down, but maybe what the fuck, with his newly acquired Dagon on the puck, might be able to do it.
Well, Dagon, what can I say? Dagon is something I wouldn't necessarily have expected in this one from Whatafucker. I was maybe thinking we could see a Sheepstick or just go for Lincolns and then use it on the rest of the team to try to avoid the Doom, since that's going to be a very useful thing as well. It's actually surprising for me to see the Dagon, but in some ways it makes sense. Leshrac is very squishy, still under 900 health. Same applies to that Shadow Demon, even less health, 777, hits the jackpot, but they all risk dying here. They're going to drop the dust. That does actually catch... No, it doesn't. But now we get the last two. They're going to go straight on the Handskin, but in comes Solon, looking to disrupt this one completely. The cogs do a lot of damage, as well as the plasma field from E-Skills, but they're not finding anything off the back of this. In the meantime, you do get that puck on the backlines, does get doomed immediately and will be brought down. So in the meantime, it's a 2-for-3... Sorry, a 1-for-3 trade in favor of xGame, but you still got E-Skills doing a good amount of work with that Eye of the Storm, but that's not going to be enough to bring down anyone. And Ape Mother still standing strong. All he needs is one right click to kill any of these heroes near enough if he can crit, but cannot get it off in time. Mantis picks up the triple, and that is just a complete catastrophe for Coast.
Yeah, well, Puck didn't get to use his Dagon, but he soaked up the Doom for his team and ended up working fine for them. I mean, 4-for-1, excellent trade, to be honest. Rubik did come pretty damn close to dying, as did the Batrider even. The start wasn't all that bad. Yes, Leshrac, he was just gone in an instant, almost getting less sold. But after that, the Demonic Purge came out to the Batrider. He actually couldn't drag the Leshrac out of position properly. They took a pretty nice amount of damage from just the Power Cogs and Rocket Flare. But Equal Arrow will land into Handscan with the Wolves. Will it actually be enough? He needs to leap something. He's pretty low on mana, but still the right clicks might be enough. Drums activated as well. Splitter will catch Equal, and Handscan is actually going to make his escape, I think. Yeah, man.
No, the Wolves should kill him here still. They have enough time, but with a Plasma Field, it's enough to finish him off. Handscan getting very lucky, walking away with 35 health. One more hit from those Wolves would have sealed his death.
Yeah, I would have thought that maybe, I mean, Mirana just leaps in over the trees for the right clicks, just straight away. Doesn't waste any time, but of course, usually you want to save the leap. Oh, the hookshot lands onto what the fuck? What a nicely aimed one. Should be an easy kill for them as well, or... No, actually... There's the Dream Coil. They're going for the turnaround. Is it really gonna be Stalkat? He comes in, Firefly on top of Steel Kid. He pops the Flame Break as well, Solen. Goes out of the Dream Coil just a little bit too soon, and... Man, a 2-4-0 exchange.
That was an absolute turnaround. I did not see that one coming. The hook shot was perfect, but they couldn't bring the puck down quick enough, and Stalkat, well, what can we say about Stalkat? He is always on point with those flame breaks.
Yeah, those flame breaks have been doing a lot, and actually, he opted to max out flame break together with Firefly, and he had sticky napalm on level 2 for a pretty long time, so... I mean, flame break, it does a pretty nice amount of damage, 300 damage, as I guess a lot of nukes in a game of Dota do, but... Since it's AoE after all, and just having the pushback of it as well. If you use it correctly, it can be such a powerful tool as what the fuck, gets himself a haste rune. I mean, of course, even with a haste rune going aggressive up against Doombringer might be a little bit too risky, but if they go as a team, this haste rune is just gonna do so much, and Dagon, it's level 2 as well.
You've got to consider 8 Mother did also just eat a last will, but arrows are now going to start flying. They do have that Moonlight Shadow up, and they're just going to focus on E-skills. They're going to bring him down, but the defensive destruction will keep him alive a few seconds longer. He'll manage to escape this one potentially, but now all 5 members of Coast are ready to barrel down, but they have to contest with Moonlight Shadow. That's the biggest problem. Do they have any form of detection? I don't think they had any that was able to be used in time, but Moonlight Shadow's going to wear out. Solan's continuing the chase, going to find equals, but in the meantime, what a fucker, that Dagon brings down the Leshrac. In the background of this fight, though, hookshot misses from Solan, won't be able to get equal this time around, but the rest of the team are all going to back up, so it's a 0 for 1 at the end of the day. They lose the Leshrac.
Yeah, it's, I mean, not the worst losing his support, but of course, considering that xGame, they went for the aggression first. Coast they survived it and actually thought themselves strong enough to chase in return, but what the fuck, Dagon level 2, a little bit too much burst damage for his squishy Leshrac, who has actually power threats and strength, so tanking up that little bit. At equal, a really nice hookshot dodge there as well. Oh, Blink Dream Coil, what the fuck? Ape Mother, his reactions were just spot on. I mean, I don't know how fast he was on the reactions or how he knew, but he somehow got away.
Indeed he did. And you have to always consider just the threat of escape when the Blink Dagger's on the field. And if you have that very fast reaction time, if you've got, say, an emergency bind like spacebar for some people or something on their mouse that they can hit easily, it's very easy to escape a lot of those scenarios. But top lane, there's going to be very, very little the Razor can do from E-skills there to evade Mantis. And Mantis has exploded into this game. He has a Necro 3 as well as that Vladimir's, and he's just slowly just sieging these lanes, getting the kills going. And you've got to consider how much damage is actually being applied to these low health heroes of Coast. They've got big problems. They seriously do. Yeah,
it's just look at the graphs as well. It used to be rather even for a pretty long time. Suddenly a 7,500 gold lead for xGame. XP also 7,500, nearing 8 even. I mean, it literally used to be almost zeroed out for XP at least. But just the last couple of fights, xGame, they've been getting away with murder.
Indeed they have, and if they can keep up that level of aggression, keep up that level of pushing power, it's going to be very, very difficult for Coast to fight into it. And we do have another fight lurking around. 8 Mother thinking about it, doesn't quite find the Doom onto that puck in time.
Yeah, once again, nice reactions this time around from the puck himself. Once he saw Blink from 8 Mother, immediate phase shift. And actually Stalkat, he wants to go in aggression, 3 seconds on the last soul still. Oh, Blink, silence comes out, illusion orb away, Shiva's card activated from 8 Mother, but everybody just makes it out. Arrow will not connect on any heroes.
Threads the needle completely. I was honestly expecting potentially a Dream Coil, but no, in comes the last suit. They're going to go straight into 8 Mother. In comes a hook shot from Solan though to buy some time. Reeves is the focus with it, but he can't do anything. They've lost the Doom. They're going to lose Solan this way. He's stuck on the wrong side of the river, and the Dagon will be enough to clean him up. That's a 2-for-1 trade. They lose Reeves at the end of that Rubik, but still, that is a very good trade for them. And now Whatterfucker once more. He's going straight on the Seal Kid. The Orb's there. Does he have the Dagon? I don't think he does. He's just going to Orb forward, though. And can he finish him off in time? Dagon's still got a long cooldown. They won't be able to get it. He may have overextended it. He's actually potentially going to go down with the puck. Can he blink out? Yes, he damn well can. And he's at least bought some time. But he needs to get out of dodge. He's going to be stuck on the low ground, and I think he's safe down there, but you still have Stalkat lurking around, doing a good amount of damage to Hansen, and gets him with that final flame break. Now, can they find E-skills off the back of this? I don't think they can, and Stalkat is just far too low to really contest that. So, still, that's a 1-for-3 trade, I believe, at the end of the day. xGame are just maintaining one hell of a set of control on this game.
Yeah, and they got 2 tier 2s out of this as well. Actually, the glyph comes out, so maybe they can defend or deny this tier 2, but it's gonna go down one way or another. And oh, did the Doom come out? Yes, Mantis, though, he got the shapeshift first, so the Doom went out for nothing. They didn't get equal either, who just leapt away, face boots, drums. They didn't get the deny on the tier 2 because they were going for the kills. And that's just horrible for Coast at the moment, to be honest, man. It really is. And they're just getting more and more items on xGame all of a sudden. So much global gold, boots of travels on Lycan already, plus another 3.7k gold. He is 3,000 ahead of Doombringer, who used to be number 1 before.
This is where the Doombringer starts to fall off, unfortunately. And this is the problem. When the Lycan goes late, he can still do a fairly large amount. You've got to consider a BKB may be on the menu here for Mantis, or he might just go straight Basher. But in the meantime, Hansen will just get brought down. He is just far too switchy for this game. Now they're going to find 8 Mother as well. He tried to come in to defend the Leshrac, but he really cannot be doing that. The Leshrac at this point is just food. If he gets caught, they have to leave him.
Yeah, they might get the equal though. Moonlight Shadow just popped the dust. It is there, but leap out by equal. Actually, the hookshot catches him equal. This time around, he's not going to escape more easy. Nope, the Force Staff, the Power Cox Burn still get him, but they're going to get the counter onto Soul and potentially telekinesis up. Yeah, he's going to go down, nowhere to run anymore. What the fucker? Comes in to grab the kill with his Dagon, level 3 by now, level 4 actually in the stash already. And they're going to go for Roshan at the moment. Necrobook level 3 activated as well, and they should get it quite easily since 2 of the cores of Coast are down.
Indeed, I mean, that whole 20 seconds of time before the Doom comes up, that should be ample for them to finish off Roshan. GG is called. Coast cannot stand, and game 1 of this best of 3 series goes the way of xGame.
I mean, Coast, they started off pretty damn good. Of course, xGame, they got a couple of extra kills super early on the other lanes as well, but all in all, they kept the Lycan down, but from some point onwards, they lost focus, kind of. Started losing a couple of heroes here and there, not actually being there properly as 5 or not everybody being ready, but well, in any case, it is a best of 3, so Coast, they have one more chance. If they win game 2 and take this like game 3, then well, our hearts will be satisfied because we always want to see a full series.
Damn straight.
But guys, thanks so much for tuning in and supporting us as well as the Join Dota League Season 3. These are the playoffs, a best of 3 for this quarterfinal, xGame KZ versus Coast Gaming. We'll see you in game number 2 and it should be up in just a couple of minutes time, so just stay tuned.